Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Welcome to the show. I am Garrett Williamson. So glad to have you. Continuing our series on the lie of aging. Now, I've started with this with podcast number 12, where I talked about the background on this. I know that it sounds ridiculous that I'm talking about the lie of aging, and then I keep saying that it's ignorant to think that as time passes on the calendar, we deteriorate. That may seem ridiculous because it flies in the face of conventional thought. Not, I won't say wisdom, but conventional thought. Well, of course, you're going to deteriorate. You're going to go downhill. You're going to get older, and these things just happen to you, and that's an absolute lie. And I know that a lot of people think that sounds ridiculous. I get people talking to me and asking me, but what about my grandfather and my father and my mother and they all had knee replacements. But what about this person that was an incredible athlete, now they can't do anything? There's so much observational, quote-unquote, proof that aging is an actual thing, that we deteriorate as time passes by. And that sounds ridiculous that I believe that that's not true. And in fact, I know for a fact it's not true, and I can prove it. That's the reason we're taking 5 parts to explain all this. There's a lot of information here, but I'm having to fight a belief system that we've had since the dawn of time. And that's why it's taking so many podcasts to go through all that. And so I've talked about the introduction, giving the background on it, and that's show number 12. If you didn't hear it, I highly recommend you go back and check that out. In podcast 13, I spoke about one of the 4 components. There are 5 components of aging. There are 4 components of ability. Now, aging, there are 5 components: genetics, stress, nutrition, exercise, and health care. Of those 5 components, 4 are completely 100% controllable. Genetics you can't do anything about, but stress, nutrition, exercise, and healthcare are all controllable. They're all your responsibility. They're all your fault. That is a good thing. That means you can change them. But as I said in the first episode, we're not talking really about aging because we don't care about age spots. We don't care about gray hair. We don't care about wrinkles in the skin. We don't care about any of that stuff. What we really care about is ability. We care about whether or not we can do things the same way that we've always done them as time passes on the calendar, and even possibly do them better. Well, those things, that activity level, that fitness level, those things are called ability. Remaining able is what we're after. And there are 4 components of ability: activity, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. And those aren't Garrett's 4 components of ability. Those are the 4 components of ability, and they are 100% controllable. They're 100% your fault, and you want it that way. I guarantee you want it that way. Now, I've already talked about activity in podcast number 13. I talked about nutrition in podcast number 14. Today, we're talking about lifestyle. This is a biggie. They get bigger as you go down the list, and the most important is our next one, which we'll cover in the next podcast, which is mindset. But lifestyle has a tremendous amount to do with deterioration as time goes by. Before we get into it, I've got to really talk about what lifestyle changes are. So that's a buzz phrase of the millennial generation. Years ago was the buzz phrase in my industry was aerobics was a buzz phrase, and cardio was a buzz phrase, and then core became a huge buzz phrase in the 90s. What do we do with our core? The one of the millennials is a lifestyle change. You have to understand what a lifestyle change is to understand what I'm talking about as far as lifestyle is concerned. A lifestyle change doesn't just deal with health care, and it doesn't just deal with good things. It can deal with quote-unquote bad things also. And you've had many lifestyle changes in your life. I guarantee you, a lifestyle change starts when you're a baby, when you're not able to crawl. Somebody's feeding you, you're not able to move around or what have you. That's one stage of life. And then you have a lifestyle change when you begin to crawl. When you begin to crawl, things do change. It may not be a whole lot, but your whole activity level changes. Your development changes because you're firing muscles you hadn't fired before. Also, your balance changes. I mean, it's amazing. Your nutritional needs change. That is a lifestyle change when you go from not moving to crawling. Standing, walking are the same thing. Later on in life, you go through lifestyle changes like kindergarten. You may have only gone to school at noon. And in first grade, you're going till 3 o'clock or all day, as it were. That literally is a lifestyle change. You're playing less and you're taking on more responsibility. High school, lifestyle change. When you got your car. When you got your car, you got your license at least. Huge lifestyle change. Huge lifestyle change. You're more mobile, you're picking up friends, you're going to do different activities, you're taking on more responsibility. It's a lifestyle change. You see where I'm going with this. You've had several of these in your life, and you go off to college, that's a lifestyle change. When you start a new job, get married, when you have a baby, these are all lifestyle changes. And the difference between a lifestyle change and something like a diet program or what have you, that's just making a temporary change to your food, and you're going to go back to whatever your lifestyle dictated. Lifestyle changes are like having a baby, which is a lifestyle change. You can't lifestyle change for 3 days in 1 week and then take 2 days off from it. No, when you have a baby, you're a parent 24/7. That is a lifestyle change. And what makes a lifestyle change are habits. And as I talked about in the lifestyle podcast, I talked about the fact that a habit we've always heard that it takes 21 days to create a habit. And actually that was first stated by a plastic surgeon who noticed that it took a minimum of 21 days for his patients to get used to one of the physical changes they had, like a new nose or somebody that maybe had lost an arm. It took them 21 days to a minimum of 21 days to kind of get used to that, start accepting it as a habit. We've since dropped the minimum. But what's interesting about that is a lifestyle change is a little different. Lifestyle change takes longer. And psychologists have gotten together and they agree that in order to actually have a lifestyle change, you have to take a habit. So you have to have that 21 days. But you have to take a habit and continue that habit for 66 days. And you've created a lifestyle change. Now, here's why I'm bringing all this up. As time passes on the calendar, as we take on more responsibilities, as we have different demands change in our life, we change our lifestyle. And if you look at it, as we take on more responsibility, as time passes on the calendar, we become adults. Most of our lifestyle changes we try for easier lifestyle changes, not hard lifestyle changes. We don't really seek a hard job. We get a hard job. Our first job is probably one of the hardest that we have. You're the low person on the totem pole, as they say, and probably your job's very difficult. Most likely, when you're looking for another job, you're looking for something easier, I'm sure. You're seeking something easier in that lifestyle change. And we are constantly doing this. Now, when we're kids, we're not so much. We're more interested in being able to do something ourselves. We're more interested in wanting more responsibility. I want to do that myself. I can do it myself. There's a comedian, help me with this now. Let's see if you remember this, Pablo. The comedian I'm thinking of does a great bit on this. He talks about how did I could do it all by myself become all by myself. That sad song. You think about that. That's the complete opposite, when we're kids, it's like, I want to do this by myself. I want to have this responsibility. And when we get older, it's a lonely...
I just want to say that was a great cover of All By Myself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You have a lovely singing voice.
Absolutely. Well, and just in case you have any questions about the podcast or you're needing a backup singer... traveling with your group.
Garrett's available.
I am available.
This is Team PE.
Exactly. This is Garrett Williamson. You listen to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. You can reach me at 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me on my Twitter account, which is at Team PE. You can also reach out to me on my email address at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That is also my website, personaledgefitness.com. Any comments or questions on the show? And remember, when you're listening to this, thank you so much for doing so. Please like and share it. We want to reach as many people as we can, especially on this particular topic of the lie of aging. But getting back to lifestyle, as we're younger, wanting more responsibility. We can't wait till we're 13 years old and old enough to stay by ourselves, whatever the age is, we stay by ourselves. We can't wait. We get a driver's license to have that kind of independence. We're looking for that. You're looking for your first job. You don't have a job. You're in college. You can't wait to get out of college and get into a job. And then, of course, all of us like to be back in college again. Get your first job. You're looking for more responsibility. And then things change a bit. As we get a taste of all these responsibilities, in most cases, we kind of look for less responsibility. We start looking for less demands on us. We start looking for an easier lifestyle. And the fact that, as I said in the activity podcast and also said in the nutrition podcast, these are things that we all do. These are adaptive effects, as Dr. Kenneth Cooper says, not just time passing on the calendar cause this, but these are adaptive effects of aging. And by doing these adaptive effects, as I say, age does not happen to us. We happen to age. And when it comes to lifestyle, these are the things that I'm talking about. Look at your own life. Look at when you were, let's go back to sub-elementary school, kindergarten, elementary school. Think about wanting to be first in line. Think about wanting to be the fastest in school. Think about your desire to grow up, your desire to be in second grade, third grade, fourth grade as you progressed. Think about how excited you were to have that first big girl or big boy item. whatever it was, your own room, your first time you made the team, whatever. Those are things that are more independence, more responsibility, what have you. But as we get out of college, we get out of the military, we go and get our first job, those demands are hard on us, but then we start seeking less activity like this. When was the first time you ever had a recliner? Now, these days, things may be different. Kids may be getting recliners at an early age. I don't know, but I didn't have mine until I was almost 40. I'm sure that you may have experienced the same thing, but why do we want something like that? Well, I remember playing in my dad's recliner as a kid. I was not allowed to use his recliner. And I was probably playing with the lever, reclining it back, sitting up, reclining it back, definitely not doing what I would do with the recliner when I hit my 40s.
Garrett, stop doing that!
Exactly. And kicking my sister at the same time. But think about at what time in your life you get a recliner. And once you get a recliner, most likely start using it day after day after day after day after day in a time that you may have been more active or at least sitting upright. Heart rate going up a little bit higher, just a little bit more active. Well, if you have 21 days of sitting in that recliner every single evening to watch TV, well, you've developed a habit. You've got 66 days of sitting in that recliner every single night, watch TV, reading, whatever. Well, now you've got a lifestyle change. And this is how it happens. I'll give you some other examples. I'm going to date myself here when I'm going back here. And, I don't have a fear of my age. I'm 51 years old and more than proud of it. Cannot wait for my next birthday. Look forward to it. But when I say this, when I'm dating myself here, is that when did you first get your remote-controlled TV? Now, that's something that all of us have now, but I can remember being the remote control. Pablo's over here shaking his head. I guess you have a similar experience?
Oh, absolutely. And to change the channel was something like this. It was about that loud. Clicking, clack, clack, clack.
I was thinking about that same idea. You're exactly right, because I was told to go change it, and God forbid, it was fine enough. It was VHF, but if he decided to go through the UHF channels, brrr, 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 brrr. You millennials know nothing about what I'm talking about, but I can remember it on the old black and white TV.
Just add more aluminum foil. It'll get better reception.
Right. Stand up there and hold your arms in a certain way so we can get the news to come in. But you think about, when was the first time you ever had a remote control TV? It's something where you're not getting up and going over and changing the channel. Well, one day with it is the new toy, 21 days of habit. Again, 66 days of lifestyle change. That's less activity, doing less things. All right. How about this? First time that you could really afford a nice dinner out. I mean, not a special occasion, not prom night, where you save up a lot of money or go steal it from your mom's purse, or maybe you've got a side job and you've got this one nice supper. I'm talking about you got the do-re-mi to go to Olive Garden on a Wednesday night, Yeah. I remember when I was dating my wife, it was a big deal because, we were first jobs and starving, whatever. And it was a big deal on Sundays. We would go to, believe it or not, Olive Garden. We would go to this particular Olive Garden and we would order a dinner, and, we would starving and money, hardly. So my wife would order a lasagna, and she would have that for lunch the next day because she would get the salad and breadsticks along with it, and the waiter would bring me an extra bowl. And so we would eat unlimited salad and breadsticks and have that for one meal. That was a special occasion. Boy, that was big deals on Sunday night, man. We did our Olive Garden thing. Well, now I've got the kind of cash, man. I hate to tell you, I'm rolling in it. I can take my wife to Chick-fil-A anytime. I mean, I got that, or even Hardee's. I splurge on this. She's worth it. We go to Whataburger every once in a while. But what time in your life can you afford a nice dinner out on a regular basis? Well, typically it's nice dinner out. You're going to take in more calories. Typically, you're going to add things like, another lifestyle change, which is wine, beer, liquor. Now, wait a second. Careful here. Careful answering this question. Don't tell on yourself, because unlike me, you may have started drinking before you were 21. I mean, that could have happened. So exactly right. Horrors, I know. So, but think about it on a regular basis, that where you could come home and have a beer, have a glass of wine, have a glass of liquor, which is going to have, again, there's no such thing as bad food. Y'all know how I feel. No such thing as bad foods. But that's going to be a little bit more calories that you weren't used to having on a regular basis. And if you're doing that 21 days, you've created a habit. 66 days, you've got a lifestyle. These are things that we slowly add. And these are things that we're not thinking about. It's just one drink. It's just one little thing. All of these added up. Do they give the close parking spaces to at work? Do they give them to the interns? No, I think they reserve those for the vice presidents. And look at the difference in ages. Despite the movie with Robert De Niro, interns typically are younger. And so they're walking a lot more and what have you. The vice presidents, they're a little older. They're not having to walk as far. What time do you have children? When do you end up having children? Think about how that changes your lifestyle. It's not so much about you now. It's about your kids. And so you may drop activity. It's not time for fitness anymore because of, doing things with my kids. That or they're around and you're cleaning up everybody's plate at the table. These lifestyle changes do make a difference, but at what age do these things happen? Or the child gets old enough to wash the dishes. You'll know I quote comedians a lot, and obviously I'm from the South because I quote Southern comedians, but Jeff Foxworthy said that. He said, yeah, I got a kid on the way. Yeah, I got tired of cutting the grass. And he's driving my point home. You know, as your children get older, you take on chores and responsibilities that you didn't do before. Again, a little bit more activity that you didn't do before, where you're possibly using muscles in a small way, but you're using muscles that you don't typically use, and just taking out the trash, cutting the grass, what have you. And therefore, you're seeking, if you think about it, we're in a constant state, past a certain age, we're in a constant state of seeking less activity. This is the same thing people tell me about my metabolism slowed down. Well, if I start looking at them and I start putting a microscope on all of their lifestyle, what happened when? These things that I listed a minute ago. When they have children, when they get a recliner, when they get a close parking space, when did they change their nutrition, their activity level, and what have you? I can tell you exactly when their metabolism magically changed. And it's all due to lifestyle. I say we're in a constant state of seeking less activity. Let me prove it to you. You know what everybody is seeking that is working? In some way, shape, or form, everybody's working for the ultimate slowdown, retirement. That's the brass ring. That's what we're all searching. We're all trying to reach. We're all trying to attain. Making sure you have enough money for retirement. I can relax. I can travel. I can do these things, but I will be less active. And in most cases, in the majority of cases, that's right. And this is why we assume, because it's in majority of cases, the majority of people do this. The majority of people have the same type of lifestyle cycle. The beginning stage is a couple works to get a home and marriage. They have the expanding stage, which they prepare to adjust to parenthood. They do their trips and stuff. They travel. They build the nest, make sure they've got the house ready and what have you. And the expanding stage, preparing to adjust to parenthood. Then there's the developing stage, and that's the parents' work to meet children's needs and help them develop independence. This is familiar, I'm sure. They've got the launching stage where children gradually leave home to support themselves with the help of their parents in many cases. And this is the next step. The next stage is the middle age, the empty nest stage they call it. Couple renews their relationship and prepares for retirement. And then you've got retirement. Couples stop full-time work and adjust to having more free time. Beginning stage, expanding stage, developing stage, launching stage, middle age, and retirement. That is the typical family lifestyle. And because it's the typical family lifestyle, it causes us to deteriorate. It is a plan for slowing down. It is a plan for deterioration. We don't do it because time passes on a calendar. I think you knew where I was going with that by now. I'm sure you did. Oh man, still liking this new Personal Edge fitness bottle. Hey everybody, join me for a nice drink of water, please. Let's all stay hydrated. Remember, that's an important part of the show, part of what I know and believe can prove. If you don't know what I'm talking about as far as this hydration is concerned, please go back and listen to my water podcast. It's extremely important. We play a little game here. When I take a drink, you take a drink. I'm going to make sure you stay hydrated. And where am I today? I've got my rubber bands on my water bottle, and it's going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm right at 100 ounces today. That's a plus. 100 ounces and going strong. Easy way of doing that is develop a lifestyle. Hey, look at there. Look how I did that. You see what I did right there? That was pretty good.
Slick.
And I thought you'd like it. It's to develop a lifestyle. 21 days of making sure you have a bottle with you, tracking your water with rubber bands, as you'll hear in my water podcast. Once you've had 21 days of consistently doing that, you've got a habit, get it up to 66 days. You've got a lifestyle change, and try to get your intake of water up and around 100 ounces and try to keep it there daily. Your body will love you for it, and you will maintain that quote-unquote youthful appearance. I want to explain that real quick, why I say quote-unquote when I talk about aging, quote-unquote when I say youth. We have taken those words and we've made them define our ability. And I don't believe that. I know when I use those words like that, you recognize them. That's why I use that so you understand what I'm saying. But I say quote unquote because I do not believe that. I know for a fact that what really causes us to deteriorate is 100% controllable. It's 4 components: activity, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. You keep those under control. You keep those going the right direction, and you will not deteriorate. And one of the biggest, of course, like we're talking about today, is lifestyle. So since we follow that same lifestyle pattern of constantly seeking less activity, we're going to cause ourselves to deteriorate. How do you turn it around? Simple. First thing, you've got to know it. You've got to understand what's going on there. And then you've got to change it. Start changing those habits. Start parking farther away. You hear these things all the time. You know, park farther away and walk to work, and therefore you're burning more calories, or take the stairs, all these kind of things. These are lifestyle changes that reverse the lifestyle changes that you've already made, the ones that took you to seeking less activity. Track your calories, making sure you're upping your water intake. All these little things will make a huge difference in whether or not you deteriorate. And again, they have nothing to do with time passes on the calendar. Appreciate you listening to this today. This, again, is the fourth installment to The Lie of Aging, a 5-part series showing you that we don't deteriorate because time passes on a calendar, and that age does not happen to us. We happen to age. I want you to stay tuned for the next 5th and final installment in The Lie of Aging, which is the absolute most important, and that's mindset. You've got to get it right in our heads. And this is the one, I can honestly say, this is the one out of all of them. This is the one that's killing us faster than anything else. I guarantee you, no matter what everybody thinks about lifestyle, thinks about nutrition, about activity, this is the most important one. So stay tuned. That will be podcast number 16 on mindset, the final installment in Lie of Aging. This is Garrett Williamson. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay hydrated, and most importantly, seek your own level of wellness.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.